We're getting set up here.
Had the grandbaby over at the house.
We had the grandbaby.
How many drinks do you have here? Wine?
Three. It's a 3-drink minimum for today's live.
You'll spill it. I know you will.
Gotta have some good old cheap red wine. Can't Walmart, $8 for a huge bottle. I like the stuff. It's pretty good stuff. All right, wonder if we've got some volume going. When Tammy hands me a phone back, we'll know. Let's see if we can turn this TV up over here and see if we can hear people. Can you hear me? I wouldn't even know because I don't have Tammy's phone. She took it away from me.
Well, why did I take it away from you?
Well, can I have it?
Behind you. Look behind you.
Oh, okay.
I got it plugged in for you. So
Thank
that's
you.
why I was taking it away from you.
Cool. Alrighty then. Somebody's joining with an espresso martini. Tammy loves espresso martinis.
I like espresso martinis.
Yeah, we've got volume. All right, let's have a look here. Black screening listening. Hey guys, we'll not be able to listen to you today as it's early morning here in the UK, but just wanted to say thank you for answering my question last week. My puppy's recovered and is very well now. Love it. Good deal. Good. I like it when we work hard with a puppy that's having problems and we have a good ending. That's great. Good deal. Dana Hall's with us. She's always here. Frenchy Friends is with us, joining with the espresso martini. Good for you. Can you hear me? Cheers to Frenchy Frenzy. Nothing like a good shot of alcohol to wind down the day, right? George Rodriguez says hello. Frenchy Friends are expecting cash in puppies on the 27th. So excited to see them. Well, I'm guessing by now that she's showing pretty good, right? So got to watch out for that time in that C-section, right? We've got Romana Van is with us. Says good evening. Good evening to you. So I thought I'd start off by just talking a little bit about singleton litters, singleton puppies, litters with a single puppy in them. The problems, because I've had a few of these, none of our breedings, thank goodness. I don't like singleton puppies. They're expensive. Singleton puppies have got all the expenses of a normal, 4 or 5, 7 litter C-section. They've got all the work that's really involved in it, and they have this huge problem with getting the timing right on C-sections. And I mean, it can really bite you in the butt. I mean, I think this is probably the single biggest thing that'll bite you in the butt is a singleton puppy. Because, you've got to look at why would you have, what is the things that have happened to make a singleton puppy? And almost always, singleton puppies is because you bred too early. And the semen stayed alive in the female, but the level of semen concentration motility wasn't very good, and by the time the eggs were fertilized, a couple of days after ovulation, the eggs are mature enough to be fertilized. Semen counts down to just crap, and so you only get one egg that end up being fertilized, and here comes that singleton puppy. So it's important to realize the mechanism how this happens, to not get in this rush to take puppies or take the puppy and end up with not only a C-section expense, but a dead puppy at the end of it. I've got one going on right now, in fact, with, let me turn this down a little bit here. So the thing to remember here is this. When will you, if you let a dog go into labor, you didn't have a C-section, you just let the dog go into labor, at least start having the contractions. When would you expect it to have contractions? And is it tied to the AI or is it tied to something else? And the answer is, it's tied to something else. It's tied to when the ovulation occurred. And so if you end up AIing a dog early, then what happens is the semen hangs around, gets maybe one egg fertilized, maybe 4 or 5 days later, And now you're waiting for puppies to appear. And you're 4 or 5 days early, you don't realize it because it's not off when you AI'd, it's off when ovulation occurred. Or at least, more importantly, 63 days from ovulation or 61 days from a correct AI. If you've got a single puppy, you don't have a correct AI. And that's where you get in this huge mess where you think, I've got to have a C-section, I've got to do a C-section, these puppies are going to come. And the vets are pushing you to have a C-section, and you have a C-section, and the puppy's premature, and you fight this puppy, try to keep it to survive, and then it doesn't survive. So the whole thing's just an absolute mess. So in these situations where you've got this single puppy, you've got to rely on other things other than just a due date based on when you AI'd, because you AI'd early. You didn't AI late. If you'd AI'd late, you wouldn't have any puppies, right? You can't AI late and have puppies. I mean, you can if it's more than, maybe if you're a day or two late, you can still have a small litter. But the problem gets to be is you AI'd way late, you just don't get a litter, and you don't run into these problems. You run into a separate problem, which is called not having puppies. But the important thing to realize here is if you AI'd early, unbeknownstly, and nobody AIs early deliberately, but if you ended up AI early, you're going to extend what appears to be a longer pregnancy, and the puppy is going to come later. So be very, very, very careful on these singleton puppies because they will bite you in the ass. And the problem gets to be is everybody's in a rush to take puppies, and you just got to let this thing take its course. Some vets will say if you have a singleton puppy, the dog will probably never go into labor. Never seen that happen. Never ever seen that happen. It might be true, but I've never seen it happen. I don't believe that that's a true statement. I think that certainly the signals for the mama dog to go into labor may be diluted, and so consequently you don't have a really strong response to it. But I can tell you the most common outcome is that you take puppies early, and if you take puppies more than a couple of days early, they are born with a small, no fur on their faces, and typically those puppies do okay for the first day or two, but then that puppy starts to run into problems. Not breathing very well, shallow breathing, short, rapid breathing, and the next thing you know, the puppy's not surviving. In those situations, the only things that you can do is an incubator, oxygen, tube feeding. Those are the things that will save those puppies. Without that, you're probably lost. But so you probably need all three of those things if the puppy's more than a couple of days premature. So I just want to just let people know that this really is. If you do enough of this, I promise you're going to have a singleton litter. It's going to happen to you. And when it does, you've got to be prepared for the fact that you've got to wait and hang this thing out until you see all the signs. Temperatures drop below 99.0, not eating food, nesting, panting, PG level 3 or less. And you need to have at least 3 of those 5 things showing up, otherwise you're going to get in trouble. Enough of that. All right, let's see what we've got going on. Let's see here what we've got going on. Now I've lost the feed because I'm an idiot. Give me 2 seconds here. Come on. Here we go. We got it back. All right. So Frenchie is expecting Cassie and puppies on the 27th. She's loaded with pups. Great. Love it. Love it, love it, love it. Good. And that's the great thing, going back to this singleton puppy. If you have a puppy that's loaded with, if you have a dog that's loaded with puppies, you got your timing right. And then the 61 days from a sensible PG number probably means that's about damn close to when the puppies are going to arrive. Really large litters tend to arrive a day early, but pretty much they tend to be like a train leaving a station. You can look at the timetable and you know what's going on, and it's pretty easy to get it right. George Rodriguez, my Frenchie litter just turned 5 weeks today, finally catching up on sleep, LOL. You're not using our system. We don't lose sleep. We just don't lose sleep. I mean, if you get, those of you who are separating mamas from her babies and putting them in incubators and being surrogate mama every 3 hours, you just ruin your life for the next 5 weeks. Maybe that's what George has been doing. It's not what we do. We leave mama babies together and let them get on with it. And we do have a camera in there with a microphone, so we can hear what's going on, so we can check, especially the first few days. door open in the bedroom, can hear some noises going on, look at the camera and make sure that everything's okay. But for us, it's interesting, if you go get a dog whelped by somebody professionally, and so people might chime in on this, what does it cost? This is an interesting one. I don't think we've ever had this conversation. What would you expect to pay for somebody to whelp your litter? And the answer to that is, I think that the average price is something around $100 a day or $1,000 a week. You're in the right realm here. I mean, obviously, there might be contingencies if you've got a difficult litter. You've got puppies got to be tube fed. The price may all of a sudden be more expensive. If you have a really small litter, the price might be less. If you have a really big litter, the price might be more. But a general rule of thumb, I think, is probably something around $1,000 a week, $4,000 a month. Chime in. Let me know what I don't pay for this stuff, so I don't know that that's true. Well, I have paid for it. I've had some co-owns where I'm out of the picture. The mama dog is 1,000 miles away, and so obviously I'm not whelping. And so we, for whatever reason, whelpers have been involved. And my experience, that's not been very good. Not been very good. Lost dogs over people whelping puppies for us. There's one of our customers who bought a couple of our dogs here recently who's been thinking about doing professional whelping. And so maybe they'll chime in on what they've done so far, where they've got started on this and what their price schedule is going to be. But I think that if you set this up right, that one could make a business out of whelping people's puppies and do a good job at it. But you've got to set it up right. You've got to make sure that you don't have liabilities involved. You've got a good contracts in place, that you can separate these puppies from mums so they're not interacting with each other. I had somebody today who was talking about they want to get an incubator, and they were talking about a pet brooder. And I was saying, well, why get a pet brooder? It's over $1,000. Go buy our incubator. And their answer was, I want something that's bigger. And so then I said, why do you want something that's bigger? It says, well, we may have multiple litters, so we need to put an incubator. And it's like, I wouldn't put 2 litters from 2 different mamas in the same incubator, especially if they're in an incubator because somebody's sick. I would absolutely not be commingling puppies. That just seems like a huge mistake. Rather than having a pet brooder, go get 5 of our incubators, which you could buy for about the price of 1 pet brooder, and separate mamas and separate the litters and have them in separate incubators. Anyway. Nacho Line's with us and says, let's run up the like button. Absolutely, let's have that like button hit. How are we doing on the like button? We could do with some more likes. Thank you, Nacho Line. Sonny Jones from DFW is with us. Caroline Brady says, tube feeding on a toy with a French number 8 or 6, please explain. So the size of the French tells you, when we say a French, what we're talking about is the diameter of the feeding tube. And typically for a Frenchie, a French Bulldog or a small puppy, something like a number 6 is about right. I like the really skinny ones. The really skinny ones, they can go down so easily. I mean, they are literally about maybe that much of a diameter. They're about not much over 1 millimeter in diameter. I think that's number 6. So anyway, you're saying which one should you use? The smallest one that you can get, the smallest one is the best. The problem with a really small one is it can be hard to press the plunger and get the stuff to come out. But you just got to take a few seconds to do it. But the skinny ones for me work the best. So, but either one, the number 8 or number 6, both will be fine. Dana Hall says, help me, I don't see the like button. Well, I won't see it on this. Nacho, explain to people where the like button is, because somebody's asking. That's great. Just double tap the screen, Nacho says. There you go. See, I should know the answer to this. Real Justice Free with the Truth says 4-time repeat breedings, no clefts till the 4th litter. Folic acid. If you haven't been giving folic acid or folate acid may even be better. If you've not been using those products, you absolutely should be. Is that the reason that you didn't have a cleft palate? We will never know. So, I mean, I can tell you this, that these days, all human, what's the right word for the baby doctors? Pediatric doctors would recommend that all mums take folate or folic acid from the day that they conceived until they give birth. And the most important part about this is probably for a dog, the first half of the pregnancy is the most important part, because that's when things are really starting to develop. And there's things like gastrulation where things are splitting and forming up different parts of the animal are coming together. The folic acid is pretty important. So if you didn't use the folic acid, you should. Will that fix your problem? Who knows? It won't make it worse. That's all we know. Nacho says the like button is next to the thumbs down button. Weird. So Dana Hall says weird, can't see it. And I can't see it on this one either. Huh. I don't know the answer to this. So I've got this screen right here, and I don't see. It's interesting. Where is the like button on it? Somebody else chime in. Nacho Line says it's there next to the down button. Nacho Line says close YouTube app, then open back up and start over. Okay. Anthony Boria, why can't dad interact with pups? My stud gets a little aggressive while interacting. And at what weeks can they start playing with dad? So I think I did respond to you about this because you asked about this. And I can tell you what. So the question gets to be, I think, is what is the value of the mama dog being around the puppies? Is it beneficial to the puppies? Let's talk about the upsides and downsides. So the downside to this is that if you have the dad around the litter, he might cause an infection, he might bite a puppy, he might upset mum. That's the downside to it. I don't know there's an upside. I don't think it's like humans where, so the question gets to be is, can the dad teach the puppies how to be puppies and how to socially interact? And I think of that as being the mum's job and the puppies play with themselves and not really the dad's job. So we don't do it. We don't introduce dads to the puppies at all. For the most part, we've actually used Cody's studs and they are 100 miles away, so it's not even an option for us. But I would be careful. Be careful. You don't want to upset mum. You don't want to get dog bit. I've had dogs bit by other mama dogs. Now, we used to have labs, and we'd have a litter of labs running around in the backyard with 3 mums running back there, or 3 older female labs. And we had a situation one time where one of the puppies at about 7 weeks old got into one of the little kind of igloos that one of the other mama dogs had. The mama bit that dog, and that dog didn't survive it. So, right. Well, let's see what other people say about this, because there's going to be some answers on this. Right. Polly John says, I had a singleton this last breeding. She's 9 weeks old now, golden doodle though, not a Frenchie. My girl went to labor at 65 days. Yeah, so there you go. So she went into labor. You don't say whether that's from AI or what, but she came into labor late, and you waited, and it all worked out okay. I can tell you, I would guess about half of those singleton pups, people get in trouble because the vets are anxious to get the puppy out, and they'll say things like, oh, the puppy's in distress, the puppy won't be born if we don't do something, and they end up taking the puppy early. Natural Line says, some mothers kill these pups. I know just had that happen. My guess is stress. Yeah, I think that, I think that the first thing is that male dogs, it's not like human beings where we bond together with a couple bonds, they have a litter, they make a nuclear family up, they raise children, everybody's part of that process. In the dog world, the dogs will nail whatever they can. The male dog nails whatever it can nail, and it doesn't care about anything other than just the evolutionary pressure is to spread its make its offspring as big and as many as it possibly can, not to raise the offspring. So this is why I think that you're running into a situation where you're expecting the dog to do something that I think is not really part of nature. And people can say more about this. Nathan Young said, your system worked great. I got plenty of sleep. We never take our babies away from their mum. Good for you. That's exactly the way to do it. Yeah. And I think that, if you look at the number of people who are doing it that way, they are definitely in the minority. Most people don't do that, and they should be, in my opinion. Richard Martin, have you tried the ovulation detector probe? Absolutely, I have. We were talking about the Draminsky. I actually after I got a Draminsky, I then started thinking about making my own Draminsky that would be a bit more clearer than how the Draminsky works in terms of how it shows you the numbers. And my experience with the Draminsky was, and with the one that I made, which was better than the Draminsky, was that it was unreliable and it was difficult to interpret the results, and it would steer you down the wrong path quite a bit of the time. So I'm not a fan of the Draminsky at all, not at all. So if you've got a Draminsky, I suggest you put it on Facebook and sell it. That's what I did with mine. Not sure what Nacho and Real Justice are talking about. No Nacho calcium. Don't know what that's about. You've got something going on there. That's fine. So Chicano says, hi, any rubber rods in stock, 7 Frenchie and English Bulldog size? Yeah, we stock them. My Breeder Supply, go there. Cody's got them. And I think they're number 6s. But look, any of these sizes are fine. I mean, don't get something that's really big for a small dog. A small tube's easy to get down. A number 6 is easy. Even on bigger dogs, it'll be absolutely fine. Frenchie Casey says, we have our portable incubator ready, oxygen concentrated, heated whelping system all ready to go. Excited to see what Cassie and Harlow produce. Well, we're excited too. Let us know. Yes. And good for being set up. That's what you should be doing. I mean, I had somebody the other day, they called me up, and it was coming up on the weekend, and we were talking about their dog, and they didn't have a vet lined up, and they couldn't afford a vet. It was a French Bulldog. So, here we go. It's like, I get frustrated with these phone calls because I don't want to be mean to people. But at the same time, you probably shouldn't be breeding a dog if you don't have some game plan as how this is going to lay out, because if you have a Heinz 57 dog and he's going to have puppies, he's probably going to have the puppies at home, in a box, and it'll probably be fine. But if you've got a French Bulldog, that's probably not the right way to do it. You definitely can get into trouble. And so, if you don't have a vet lined up and you don't have money set aside for a vet, and you don't even know what the cost of a vet's going to be, then likely going to get into trouble, have to go to the emergency room, and then they're going to stick you with a $6,000 or $8,000 bill. And if you couldn't afford this in the first place, you definitely could not afford an $8,000 C-section bill. So you've got to get yourself prepared, and you've got to be, like Frenchie Frenzies, who have kind of worked out what all the stuff they need is and what the cost's going to be, and that no doubt going to be successful. Nacho Line, my Frenchie is developing scab-like wounds on her back, like she's been attacked or causing wounds on her back. Maybe dog food. I suspect that this is a staph infection. What you see in a staph infection is little white bald patches. Typically they show up on the head, maybe on the muzzle in young puppies. And in older dogs, they can be all over the body. And what it is a staph infection that infects the hair follicle. And that little localized infection makes the hair follicle fall out, which produces a little bald spot. And it will grow back, but it can get out of control. And so what you typically do for a staph infection would be a medicated shampoo and probably amoxicillin. Probably need antibiotics as well. If it's really all over their body, you need to get onto this before it gets out of control. Ariel says, and Ariel has one of our dogs, so thank you, Ariel. Buy James's incubators. I have the brooder, and honestly, the brooder's not worth the money or the space. Well, I mean, I think I don't have a brooder, but I've looked at the brooders, and I know that they are probably the #1 incubator out there. They're fairly big. I think that there's different sizes, but I think they start at around $1,000 and they go up to about $1,400. And the things that I do like about the brooder is the whole thing is glass and you can see everything that's going on inside it. That I do like. That's probably the only thing I like about it. What I don't like about it is it's not portable. You can't put it in your car because it runs on 110. It's not designed to go in your car. So it's not there for the time that you absolutely should have an incubator. That is, if you're going to and from the vet, you should have an incubator. So it doesn't serve that purpose. And it's forced air, which means it dries the air out. So you've got to have a nebulizer in there or a humidifier anyway, because you dry the puppies out. And it's like 4 times the cost of our incubator. So buy our incubator. Radiant French Bulldogs with us, says good to be with us. Well, we're glad you're here. Raymond says, my mini poodle just had a litter of 4. All puppies were breech. Difficulty with the birth, weak contractions, and the first puppy got stuck. Had to pull it out. Thankfully, he's fine. Should I breed her again? Well, okay, so first thing is that breech births in dogs is pretty common, and it's not like human beings. It is typically doesn't necessarily cause a problem. So that's the first thing. So a breech birth is fairly common and not something that you should really be worried about. But a dog that is running out of steam, I would say, if you're planning on having a natural birth, next time that you have a natural birth with this dog, I would have an x-ray done beforehand so you can determine the number of puppies and the size of the puppies. I would have some oxytocin on hand. Oxytocin is the hormone that you give to human beings and dogs, and it produces more stronger contractions, and it helps with milk letdown. I think anybody who has a C-section done, the vet will give a shot of oxytocin at the end of the operation after they've sewn the mama dog up, and they do that to help contract the uterus to get all the muck out of the uterus, and also to help with milk letdown. And it can be used successfully for dogs that are being slow on their contractions to get their contractions going again. You've got to be careful with it. You can't give too much of it. You've got to use it correctly, because you can absolutely, apparently, cause a burst uterus if you give too much or too frequently if you give oxytocin. But when we had labs, we'd always have a little bottle of oxytocin. We'd always give about half a cc of oxytocin towards the back end of the litter, and maybe sooner than that if she was having what we call loss of inertia, where the rule of thumb is this: contraction every 2 hours. You need to have a puppy being, after the first contractions, puppies within 2 hours, and then a puppy born every 2 hours or less. And if you don't see that, it's time to pull out the oxytocin and or go to the vet. Be careful with the oxytocin. If you don't know what you're doing, I don't want to give you instructions on oxytocin and someone get into trouble and come back and say, James said do this. The next thing you know, somebody wants to sue me over this. So I'm not a vet. Be careful how you use oxytocin. I think these days you used to be able to buy it online. I don't think you can buy it online anymore. Just keep it in the fridge for a long time if you got it. Real Justice says dogs generally handle natural situations. Okay, I'm not sure what we're talking about, the daddy dog being around or not. Anthony Boria says, what shots are 8-week pups need, and can you give them at 9 weeks? So this is one of those funny things about shots, where the important things about shots is to get them regularly spaced apart in the right time frame. Why is that? Because if you give shots too early, for us we start them at 6 weeks. If you gave shots at 4 weeks, they have had natural immunity from mum, and the shot wouldn't do them any good. If you wait till they're 8 weeks for their first shots, then they can be exposed for this period between when mum's natural immunity is wearing off and you give them the shot. They can be vulnerable in that 2-week period. So that's why we choose 6 weeks. But I can tell you that's not the way that all vets would recommend. Some vets would say, do the shots at 5 weeks and then every 3 weeks afterwards, or do it at 6 weeks and every 2 weeks afterwards. We do it at 6 weeks and every 3 weeks afterwards. That's always been successful for us. We've never had a problem doing it. But there's difference. You know, definitely the important thing about shots is get your spacing so it's sensible. Don't start shots until they're about 5 or 6 weeks old. Do make sure that your shots have been refrigerated the entire time and not been left out. And do give the appropriate shots for what puppies you've got. And for us, we typically do a 5-in-1 shot, but that covers the basic things like distemper and parvo. But there are shots that you might give if you're more in a kennel environment to do things like bordetella, 6- and 7-way shots. They're not a lot more expensive. So I do have some videos on this. You might go look at those. Raining French Bulldogs. My one 12-week-old pup got bit in the ear from a littermate, and now it's developing a hematoma. What should I do? So a hematoma, I've got videos on this. The problem with the hematoma is the whole ear fills up with blood. And if you don't do something about it, then you get a cauliflower-looking ear that will be deformed potentially for the rest of the life of the dog. So the solution to this, for me, has always been pretty simple. What you do is you take the barrel from a dry eraser works really well. You take a dry eraser, you pull out the felt tip, you open the other end up, you take the little kind of spongy thing that's inside it. So you've got nothing more than a lightweight little cylinder that's about as round as your thumb. And you then take the ear and you put that round piece inside the ear so it's vertical, and you wrap the ear around. So you then wrap the ear around. If I can, let's see if I've got something here where I can demonstrate this. So basically what you're going to do is wrap the ear around with some tape so it's tightly compressed against this cylinder, and that stops the blood. First thing you're going to do is drain it, by the way. I'll just start from the beginning. You drain it by taking a syringe and poking a hole at the very bottom of the ear and pushing. You can suck it down with the syringe, or you can leave the syringe sticking there, which is probably the easy way, and just slowly massage the ear from the top, and all the blood runs out, and the ear then looks like a normal ear. But it won't stay that way. And the way that you make it stay that way is you put that cylinder up against the ear, wrap the ear around it, and wrap tape around that so it can't fill back up with blood. And that's always worked for me. Always worked for me. Some people say, oh, they won't stay on the dog. Well, you have to put it back on again. Some people ask, how long do you have to leave it on for? Long enough that when you take it off, it doesn't fill back up with blood, and if it does, you put it back on again. And typically, within about 3 to 6 days, you've got the whole thing fixed. Okay. Here comes Tami.
What was it that we pointed out, a puppy that we saw was going to talk about it? I said, that's what we need to talk about.
Yeah, I'll think about it a second here.
I think what it was.
Real Justice says, I found out my dog food company changed their recipe, so I'll never know. I think we're talking about probably maybe allergies and how things have changed. Frenchy Frenzy says, our vet does the dew clause of delivery. I'm assuming that works for animal genetics too. Is that correct? It is.
But you got to match up the correct puppy to the right dew claw.
That's exactly right. So we've made this mistake
Were they
before.
able to hear me say that?
Yes.
Yeah.
So here comes Tami. So for us, we do the dew clause between 3 and 6 days old. I think doing a birth probably a little early, but it's probably fine. So if you want your vet to do it, yeah, that's obviously do it all in one go. For us, we just do it ourselves. It's so easy to do. It's not, Tammy's pushing me over.
Yeah, I am. He's all slumped down.
But the point here is when you remove a dew claw, you've got to make sure you put it into a little pouch where you know which puppy that came from, and you can identify it on the form with animal genetics. So then when results come back, you know which results go to which puppy. We've made mistakes on this more than once. We've had to go back and retest again because we just weren't sure. My fault.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. James's fault.
So how do you do this? So sometimes it's pretty hard to tell when all the puppies look the same.
Well, the two girls were pretty much the same. They were coys, remember?
Yes.
And so we were double checking to make sure which one carried pink.
Yes. So
because we kind of
I think a good way to do this is to take your
So
phone.
we found out through DNA which one it was
Yes.
again. So-
Take your phone, take a picture of some markings. Like, they might have white on their chest and they'll look different pattern. Take a picture of it because that tends to stay that way until puppies leave. So
People used to say, oh, toenail polish on a paw, or, but that wears off. Mama licks and licks and licks it, and
That's
it
right.
wears away, and then you're like, uh-oh.
Or put a colored collar on their neck and they take it off.
I don't know about permanent marker. I don't know.
No, I think I've heard people doing that stuff, but
Yeah.
I think that
Collars, some people do collars, but sometimes collars come off too. Mama will chew them off.
typically you can tell a puppy because it's got maybe some markers on its nose or some patterning somewhere that's a little bit different. And from that you can identify the puppy. But if you don't spend some time and effort to get it done, you will make mistakes on this.
What happened to your other phone?
No, I'm not using them all. Because they're both on the same phone number, it messed things up that one time. Let's have a look.
So if y'all are looking for puppies, I still have the 2 little fluffy carrier boys. One of them carries pink, and both of them are blue and tans, carrying double intensity, carrying Rojo, which is the testable chocolate. They call it Rojo now, and cocoa. So they have 2 versions of the chocolate, and cream, AT-AT, and beautiful babies. Pearl and Cassian did fantastic. Short little cobby, stocky, just thick puppies. And then Jody has Mando puppies. I think she sold one girl, and there's a possibility of the other one gone. So the boy is for sure available.
She has 1 boy and 2 girls available.
No, I thought she sold the girl. And then you had a possibility somebody was looking at the other girl.
That litter had 5 puppies,
Okay.
3 girls, 2 boys.
Anyway, so Jody's got some, and they're full fluffies.
They're pretty.
Harlequin tweed merles, blue and tan, and a lilac and tan.
12 weeks old.
Uh-huh. And the other little girl that I thought had sold is a blue and tan solid color, vice
Yes.
versa, whichever one.
Right.
But I thought there was a pending one on the lilac and tan.
Well, there was somebody who's looking actually at
Okay,
the
they
Merle, and they haven't pulled the trigger yet. I thought they were going to, but
so
they haven't
she
yet.
still is available. She is
Yes.
not pending. She's just got somebody that
Right.
might,
Yes.
but first come, first serve.
For us, pending means somebody's put some money down. We're not,
Pending, no, they haven't put money down if they're pending.
Yes,
If,
true.
Yeah,
That's
they're
true,
sold
right.
if they put a deposit down.
Yes.
So then Cody has that little bitty new shade Isabella female, tiny thing, tiny, tiny. I saw her this past couple of days, tiny. And then he's got a couple of more of the full fluffy new shade. Let's see, I think there's a new shade Isabella and
Okay.
a lilac and tan.
So we've got lots of
Full
questions here.
fluffies.
I'm struggling,
Merles.
so Polly Johnson says, I'm struggling with canine Neospora. I have a puppy who came back who tested positive. Never heard of it. Don't know anything about
What is it?
Neospora. So if anybody's got any information on Neospora, chime in, let us know, because I just don't know what, without doing some research,
What's it do?
I have no idea. I have no idea.
Okay. Sounds like Neosporin, the cream that you put on.
So Dana Hall said, I figured it out. I had to close the comments to see the like button. Okay, there you go. If you don't see the like button, you've got the comments down. Get rid of the comments and you'll see the like
Let's
button.
get some likes going. We need some likes. Push that like button so we
So
get
we-
thumbs up.
We had a conversation, Tammy, about whether or not daddy dogs should be around the babies. And if so, when?
There's sometimes some males are just as sweet and calm around their puppies.
That's
and-
what Real Justice says.
so
He
you-
says, my boy's so good to his babies.
Yeah, but you just have to know your dog before you actually put them together.
Yep.
Just be real cautious about it.
I think about when we had the stud dogs in the house, we had...
Lonnie was
really
super
good.
sweet with his
He
babies.
was, wasn't he?
So
I
was
think-
Little Man.
I was forgetting
we've
that.
had good.
See,
luck
these
with it,
days, we've got studs that Cody's got, and they're completely in a different place, so they're not there to even be able to see their babies. But yeah, just be careful, that's all.
Yeah,
Right.
tread with caution.
So Real Just says he interacts a lot and teaches them to hunt. Okay, well, good. All right. So, what I said is apparently it's not true. But not before 5 weeks. That sounds sensible.
Yeah, yeah.
Teeny Queenie says, I've heard low calcium during birth can cause the mother to act very weird. Yes, it's called eclampsia. So eclampsia is low calcium, calcium deficiency, that typically comes in right around whelp, when milk production all of a sudden is turned on and there's not enough calcium present, and they then start pulling calcium out from their blood, and their low calcium then wigs them out, and they can act completely disorientated, they can go into a coma, and they can die over this. It's much more common in small dogs like Chihuahuas. And I don't think we've ever seen this in a Frenchie. Have we ever seen it? No. We have seen it, I think, in a Chihuahua. So you need to be aware of it if your dog
Those are tiny. Those were tiny.
Yes.
So we had like 2.5, 3 pound Chihuahuas, full grown.
Yes.
So
right.
You have to have honey on hand.
Well, Nutrical is probably the best.
Nutrical's better.
It's probably the better thing. And if it really gets out of control, then it's time to go to the vet and go get a calcium score done with a blood test, and then give an IV and get the calcium right. You really can get in trouble over this. But it's more the small, tiny dogs that don't have much of a blood supply that can get in trouble with this. Real Justice Free says, in the wild, they raise them together. I mean, you say that, and that's not what I think of.
Sometimes the mama fights them away to a certain point.
I mean, if you look at...
You see lion cubs with the daddy, and
that's
sometimes
feline.
the daddy's a little rough.
Well, absolutely.
Even in gorillas, you'll see that they're a little rough.
Absolutely.
So
I think gorillas there's more chance that you have a... if you look at lion cubs, the
mama does not want him around at all.
They'll kill him. They kill all the dogs, all the lions that
I know that cats,
typically don't.
Yeah, tomcat will kill
typically
little
don't.
kittens.
Yeah. And if you talk about dogs, I mean, I know things like dingo dogs and things like this, that they do have kind of a hierarchical family situation, but most dogs don't have that. I think about things like...
just be cautious.
what are the dogs that you hear whining at night?
Coyotes?
Coyotes. Coyotes have a family structure. Enough of this, because we don't know what we're talking about. It's the truth of it.
James is rambling.
Fashion forward mums here. We were worried about you. Anthony says, I'm keeping 2 of my pups, one male and a female, so I'm wondering, can I let dad interact at least 9, 10 weeks or 12 weeks? Or try and
Just
see.
watch it.
Try and see.
How they're going to act. Interact with each other.
I mean, the thing about this is that puppies have to learn how to react amongst other dogs, right? They have their own...
Don't have any food around. Don't have a toy around when you're introducing them.
Right.
When you're first introducing them, just let it be the puppy and the dad. No toys, no food, no water. Just let them meet and greet each other.
Yes, and puppies have to learn how to behave around other dogs and puppies. And so...
Yeah.
Okay. Sonny Jones says, a Dermadex shampoo for staff? Absolutely. You bet. Right.
Or just a mild shampoo at first, and if that doesn't work, then do a medicated shampoo.
So Natural Line was talking about these scabs that showed up on a dog. He said it's more like no bald spots. It's actually cut-like wounds. I don't know what that is. I mean, unless the dog is scratching itself. I mean, you can get things like Demodex.
Hot spots.
Yes. I mean, you can definitely get dogs that scratch themselves on their ears and chew on their feet with hot spots. But he says on a number of different places. I would start with a Demodex shampoo. And then after that, it's time for a skin scraping. Go to the doc, do a skin scraping. What they do is take a scalpel with some Vaseline on it. They scrape the living hell out of the dog in one area where there's a bald spot. And they then take that kind of muck that they got off with a razor, and they look at it on a slide, and they see whether they can see Demodex or red mange or whatever, right?
And don't panic that if it's not a real bad case of red mange, you can get rid of it with ivermectin.
Yes, ivermectin.
Yeah.
Right.
But if it's a bad case, then that's a different story.
Natural Line brooder, I heard, dries dogs out. It does, absolutely. Most of these incubators, they're forced down. They are going to dry dogs out. You're going to have a humidifier. Because if you've all the...
Not ours.
Not ours, that's exactly right.
That's why you need to buy ours.
That's right. Ours is...
MyBreederSupply.com.
Have you ever seen an incubator? All the incubators I've ever seen always have a fan and a heater. It's either a light bulb or a heating element, and they just pass the air over that, and it consequently dries the air. Every single one I've ever seen. As best to my knowledge, ours is the only one that's out there that basically has a heat plate buried in the floor, and it's just like a heating blanket, a hot blanket that you have at night. It doesn't dry the air out, it heats you up through conduction. It's the only one that I know of that works this way, and it works well.
Yeah.
And I
if
mean,
James is wrong, tell him.
Yeah.
That's what this channel's
That's
all
right.
about.
Yeah, right. Ariel
Yeah?
says, I recommend everyone I meet, and I do a lot of dog shows, I tell them to go to your website. They will find everything they can need. Thank you.
Oh,
We appreciate
that's sweet.
that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes. And Ariel says, yes, that's right. The brooder does dry them out horribly. Yep, right. Many pups die in the brooder. So this is another thing about this, is that, and this actually was a conversation we had with somebody the other day, was about, it's maybe what you were talking about. Somebody was talking about, they were asking me about what settings to put on their incubator. And it didn't have a thermostat on it. They bought it on Amazon. It didn't have a thermostat, it was just a heat lamp.
Yeah.
And I mean, I said two things to them. I said, I'm not going to give you advice on somebody else's product. If you didn't buy my product,
We don't know how it works.
I don't know how it works.
How it's put together.
I can't give you any recommendations on temperature settings on a product that, if you buy one of ours, I can tell you all about it, but it's somebody else's. And here's the deal. You can kill puppies in any incubator, including ours.
You've got to check that regularly to see if everything's working properly. Because if you see little mouths open and they're panting, they're hot, you'll hear them screaming and crying and, they're upset. So
Yes.
check on those babies. Don't just
There's
close them up and leave it alone.
There's two ways that you'll kill a puppy in an incubator. It's not warm enough or it's too hot. And the sweet spot is the place where they're sleeping and they're quiet. If they are climbing up the walls with their mouths open, it's too hot. And if they're crying, it's probably too cold. And like Tammy says, you've got to check this, especially when you first put them in there. Here's the problem. Like if you have one puppy in an incubator, it's not generating any heat to raise the heat up. If you have 8 puppies in there, their heat alone is probably enough, and you don't hardly need an incubator at all.
Yeah,
and if you add extra heat with an incubator with 5 or 8 puppies
hot
in there,
water bottles in
yeah,
there.
you can cook puppies and you get them in trouble in a hurry. Be careful.
Always check it. We brag about how good ours is, but you always still want to check.
Real Justice, I'm laughing because I don't believe it. I'll tell you what the answer was though. Real Justice says, and my vet said a kink in the tail could come from being breech. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it at all. Are you buying it? Why are you not? I'll tell you why I'm not buying it. It just, first thing is that the tail's, it just, if you had a kink in the tail, then I mean, if it happened during breech and you've actually ruptured a disc in the tail, I'm not buying it. Not buying it. Now, why has it got a kink in the tail?
Was there several puppies in the womb?
Yeah.
And no place to move around?
So Real Justice says add calcium after every puppy. Got to be careful with this calcium though, because you can overdo it and you can go the wrong way. So, we do give calcium in the form of cottage cheese that we put on mum's food just to give her extra dosage of calcium for the first 3 days?
About anywhere from 3 to 5 days. And the puppies will definitely let you know when mama's had too much calcium, because you'll see it in the poop.
Yeah, so you don't keep on putting calcium on there, do you? Because they'll get diarrhea if you're not careful, right? Right, yeah, exactly. They do like it though, don't they?
The mama dog.
Yes.
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 Yeah.
So that's another thing, that sometimes mama dogs aren't eating very well, and a good old dollop of cottage cheese makes the
Or
food
just
more...
a good old mama's hand feeding her, giving her attention.
That's magic,
giving her
isn't
love.
it?
Yeah.
It's magic. It is magic,
Yeah.
Yeah.
She thinks somebody cares about her.
People make this statement, they say, dogs aren't cognizant, they don't have feelings.
Okay.
Bullshit. They've
They
got
do.
plenty of feelings.
do.
They know who cares for them. They know who they like. They know when they're
Okay.
being specially treated. Okay, Tammy's tapping.
Rattling.
Natural Line says low cal equals milk fever, shaking, and possibly that's correct.
Can we get some more thumbs up, pretty please? We got some, but we just need some more.
Natural Line says that's why knowledge goes a long way. That's exactly right. You've got to know about these things. If you see a dog that's wigging out and shaking or going into a coma, you may have no idea about what's going on. And if it's a small dog and it's just given birth, then the answer is the first thing to do is to go get some Nutrical and put some Nutrical in their mouth and see whether you can make a big difference quickly.
And if you don't have Nutrical, throw that honey in there.
Caroline says, your incubator, does it ship with a wall plug and a car adapter? It absolutely
Sure does. That's
absolutely
all part of it.
And you can use it anywhere in the world because it's 12 volts, all cars are 12 volts, it always plugs into a car. And then the adapter we've got will work on 220 or 120. You can plug into either. You have to have the right plug if you're in Europe. If you buy this thing from us and you're in Europe, we'll send you the adapter so you can plug it into your 240 outlet if you're in Europe. But the answer is yes.
But you gotta let them know.
Yes,
Yeah.
but you're going to get both automatically.
No more sale going on yet?
I don't think Cody's got sale on the moment.
I think that went off like a week after Christmas, wasn't it? Valentine's is coming up.
Oh dear, Reba says, I'm on the brink of turning my dogs over to the shelter. The market in my area is dead and saturated. Any suggestions? It's no more pleasure for me anymore, only bills and labor. And then Real Justice says, so send them over to the shelter, Rhea. With that attitude towards them, you're probably better off. So, all right, so I hear your pain, right? So, the problem with this is, so let's have a conversation about this. So the conversation goes like this. I thought this was going to work out really well, but now I'm finding that I can't market my puppies, and so I can't find anybody who wants to pay me for these puppies, and I've got some expenses. I've got a C-section bill, I've got some vet bills, I've got shots, I've got maybe
Just
DNA
don't
testing.
have time.
I don't have time. So, and then you get to a situation where you're going to be negative on the financial side. It's going to be a loss for you. What do you do about it? So, I've got some ideas. Do you want to harp in on this, or shall I have a bash at this first?
Yeah, you go ahead.
First thing is you have to have a game plan. You have to make sure that you have enough money set aside to understand what your expenses are going to be, because these puppies are going to be...
It's kind of like too late now, so...
Well, I know, but
Okay.
they said what to do. So the question is, I can't fix it for you now, I can fix it for you next time. So the first thing is you have to work out what you think the expenses are going to be, because there's going to be no payday until these puppies leave at 9, 10 weeks, 12, 13, 14 weeks. So you've got all that time to got to pay for maybe a stud fee, for if somebody's whelping, the whelping fee, the food bill, the shots, the C-section, the vets, health checkups. You've got to have enough money for that. You better work out what that is. Here's the next thing I would say. Go to Breeder 101 and invest in one of my courses, which is how to market puppies. Because I go through all the things that Tami and I have learned over the last 25, 30 years that make us successful in marketing our dogs. We are successful in marketing our dogs. Some rubbish. We're successful. Now, doesn't mean that it's all plain sailing. There's definitely ups and downs, times of the year where it's easier than other times. 2 litters back to back put a lot of pressure on you, right? But, I would say go and invest. I don't know what that course is these days. I think it's $150. It comes with a money back guarantee. I would recommend you go invest in that course and find out what to do to make yourself more successful than what you are right now. Nacho Line says, ask any or friends you deem reliable for pups, and ask them
That's
on
what I was gonna
Facebook
say,
who can
about
care for or
friends
want
to
your
help.
pups.
Yeah.
Right. So
Yeah.
get some help from people. There are some
All
things.
you have to do is put it on Facebook that you need help, and you'll be surprised how many people are going to reach out and help.
Yes, and here's another idea for you. Let's say that you decide that you're done with this. What you can do is that you could go in with somebody who's local to you and say, you take the puppies at no cost, you start having litters with this, and you give me some money back on the next litter. Maybe you can get away from the puppies, get them in a home with somebody who knows a little bit better about what's going on, and still recoup some or all of your investment by the fact that there's money to be made on a future litter.
Okay, somebody's answering questions that you should be answering.
No, they're not. They're just asking questions.
No, I see something that's saying things.
Well, people are allowed to ask questions.
Well, I know, but you getting caught up. What? 250 what? French Bulldogs?
No judging, just reminding when a dog knows you got its back, no matter what they're going to show it out for you. Well, okay, so, Real Justice says, James, thank you. You taught me to tube feed, AI, do claws. Thank you. You're welcome.
What about the lactating mama? Somebody just
we-
got through helping her.
We're not got there yet.
you're
Rhea Beers,
behind.
so I don't recognize that name, so you're new to the channel. Thanks for joining us. My dogs are great and love my dirty drawers. So, sir or ma'am, I got in it to be a breeder, not a sitter. AI resources all resources are exhausted. Well, we hear you. It's work. Doesn't have to be work though. There's ways to make the work a lot less, and the answer to that would be what, Tammy? How can you make raising a litter less effort?
Potty poop tray, traveling incubator, heated whelping system, lift.
Lift. These are all things that we invented because we were being down the same road as you. I mean, for us, this horrible workload you're talking about is not a horrible workload for us. It really isn't.
Somebody said, I agree, a Valentine's sale. Maybe we can talk Cody into having a sale for Valentine's.
Ariel says, I've sent about 1,000 people to your guys' website, from studs to progesterone tests to incubators, lots to whelping kits and poop trays. This is a very big AKC dog show. Well, thank you very much, Ariel. We really appreciate you. We think the world of you too. Sonny Jones says, colored collars may come off, but I find them useful too. I think there's something else about putting things on your puppies, and we don't do this like we used to. But this idea that you want to not only be able to identify your puppies for yourself, but for people who potentially want to get one of your puppies. That they can then, if you're consistent about what you put on, we used to put jewelry on. The jewelry really worked well, especially with
I
Taurus.
wasn't real crazy about leaving collars on their neck because sometimes they'd get that little collar under their
Or
in
in
their
mouth.
mouth and
Yes.
stuck.
But I think every time that you take a video, if you have a collar on there, it's always the same color.
Yeah.
That is something that helps your customers say, hey, there's a little blue one we've been looking at. There he is. So I think that's a useful thing to do. Nacho says, Flip Lou. I talked to Flip Lou the other day. That was a good conversation. Thanks for the idea to make nursing mums food like cereal works like a charm. Okay, there you go. I'm not sure what that recommendation was, but you might tell us, but we'd like to know.
It's probably answered a while ago.
I think they had a personal conversation about this. Raining French Bulldogs. We are from Canada and are purchasing a full fluffy from Cody, that's our son,
good.
and could not be more excited to elevate our program with your lines. We love you guys and excited to work with you.
Finally
Great.
found you a nanny.
Oh, is that right? Yeah. Oh, okay. Good. I didn't know about this.
Yeah.
You know about it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Ariel says he will not be disappointed in a new puppy. Thank you. And Ariel goes on to say, I have two beautiful, full, fluffy males from James and Tami. You absolutely do. You do.
Pretty.
Billy.
Billy. No, Billy.
Billy was a...
Steals my heart still.
Yes,
I
yes.
look at past videos of Billy and he's just gorgeous. Of course, the other boy is so unique. That little koi. Wow.
Ariel says, I'm looking for a non-related male or female that can't be related to my boys. I've got one for you. Actually, I've got one for you. So give me a call when it's convenient because I want to tell you about, there's a couple of girls that I think might make some sense. And so give me a holler. They're who's Billy's not a band.
Merles. If that little blue and tan full fluffy is available, she would, because she's got both Merles, because Billy is a Merle and the koi is a Merle.
Okay, well, we'll have to have a conversation about that. So that's, yes.
So it'd have to be a solid female.
Hit those likes, Flip News says. That's right, hit those likes. How we doing on the likes? We're doing pretty good.
Always could use more likes though. We've got a female in heat, but crazy. Her temp at 8 days went, or not temp.
Progesterone.
Her progesterone at 8 days went at 17. Then the next day, 18. And then guess what today?
10.
10.
Crazy.
Still bleeding though. Hadn't stopped. Because
yeah.
I just knew it was a split heat, but she's still bleeding.
I'm
so
glad. I
can't
thought she was
consider it.
early. I thought she was early, but this is a weird
But
thing.
this is way early. This is like what, day 16 when she did the first litter.
But the books would say on a fine care machine that, at 17, 18, it's time for your first breeding and that she's ovulated. But apparently that's not true. So this is this thing about this ovulation. When people say they want to time things off ovulation, be careful, because I can tell you that it doesn't always work that way. Okay. Shri Zuman says, my newborn puppy died suddenly and neck was swollen. She was active for a few hours. She was active a few hours ago. So I think we're talking about a puppy that died right after birth. And so...
How old did she say it was?
Well, it doesn't. My newborn puppy. So I assume that's a puppy that's less than 24 hours old.
Okay, so its neck was swollen.
So I think that if you had a puppy with a swollen neck, something has gone badly wrong here. And so...
was it a natural birth?
we don't know.
Okay.
We don't know. But something has gone wrong here. For a puppy to have a swollen neck right at birth, something has gone badly wrong. And so my guess is that this is not a survivable situation. So, yeah, I don't think there's anything you probably could have done.
Died. Then
Yes.
Of course it's not survivable.
Well, I don't think it would have been. I mean, what I'm getting
Oh,
at here is I don't
okay.
think you could have done anything. Fast Forward Mom says, I have one out of 100 dogs that will howl if his wife leaves. So we keep him with the babies. All right, there you go. So you know, what Fashion Forward Mum is saying, she has a lot of dogs, is that this is an unusual situation for her. Okay, so here's more information. My 21-day puppy died suddenly and her neck was swollen. She was active a few hours ago. What's the reason? Okay, so this is not a newborn puppy. This is a puppy that's 3 weeks old,
yeah.
right? Died suddenly. So I think we need more information here. I mean, you know, had you been given any medications? Could it got into something that would be maybe a poisonous? Could it have been in a trauma from another dog? So I can tell you this. Have you ever seen a dog with a swollen neck?
No.
No. Unusual situation. So I think the chances of us being able to diagnose this for you
Did it get bit?
with just that information is about zero.
Swollen neck?
Yep.
Bit?
Other people can
something.
chime in. Maybe somebody else got an idea.
Some kind of infection, a sort.
So I've got other people saying that, Real Justice says, he's my dog too, and he
Be a
lives
walrus
with
pup,
this
too.
lady.
A walrus pup at 21 days old.
Yeah, it's kind of late on to get, typically these hydro pups happen at birth, not
Yeah.
later on.
Yeah. But thanks for
So
that
so
answer.
somebody says,
A
Fast Forward
swimmer
Mum
pup
says,
with the neck was swollen.
your puppy
A
could be...
swimmer pup,
could
but
be
this pup's 21 days old.
Well,
so
here's
it's
Fast
not
Forward Mum
newborn.
says this could be a spider bite.
Yeah, that's what I was just
I think
asking.
that's not a bad...
Yeah.
That is possibly an explanation for this. I think
Yeah.
that's definitely could be a possible
I think
venom
I
bite.
said that a while ago. Can you hear me?
Did you say it? I didn't hear you.
Hey, can you hear me? I said.
Did
I said
anybody
could be a
else?
bite.
Did you?
Yeah, I did.
Oh well, I thought when you said a bite, you meant a bite from another dog.
He's old. His
I am old.
hearing is terrible.
No, my hearing's better than yours. Proven by a hearing test.
Anyway, great minds think alike, don't we?
So Natural Line says, swollen neck, early death. My guess is born too soon with weak lungs. Nah, it's 21 days. It's 7 weeks. This is 3 weeks. This is not neonatal. This is a puppy that's should be walking around with its eyes open. So no, I'm not buying this. Trey says, when I tried CPR, water was coming out of her nose. Yeah, I mean, when you get to these situations, you can do CPR on a dog, but typically what happens is, if they don't make it, whatever's in their stomach comes out of their nose. This is a normal
Yes, yeah.
situation.
Yeah,
The dog
it's
that's
sad.
died.
It's hard.
Yep.
Yeah. No fun on that part for sure.
Miriam Schnauzers is, howdy, I'm late. You are late, because we're already at 9 o'clock. I better run through these questions. We've got lots of questions here.
Yeah, I know. You gabbing away.
So Kenneth is with us. He showed up late. Fast Forward Mum, we used Happy Jack kennel dip for mange and skin issues. Seems to clear it up with 1 or 2 treatments. Never heard of it. Interesting to know. Right, good. So again, Shay says this dog was 21 days old and healthy. So that's why I think the spider bite is possibly an answer for this. And she says, hard to tell without seeing that really. Even then it might be hard to diagnose this. So it's an unusual situation, it's bad luck, and so there's only, I think this is like water under the bridge at this point, not much you can do about it. Shrey says she was growing normally. Could it be liver shunts, the sudden death? No, I don't think so. So liver shunts show up early on, and they don't, and they get better if the puppy survives. So they don't kill a puppy all of a sudden. So not liver shunts, I almost guarantee it. Should I give fendobendazole to the other puppies and mother? You should give fendobendazole to all dogs every 2 weeks after they're 6 weeks old, regardless. So they need to be wormed, but the worming is not the cause of this problem. I'll tell you that. Kenneth says, my Frenchy pups are 9 weeks old tomorrow, and I have four. The two small puppies' ears are going up, like sideways, and the bigger puppies have the big fold on them. How does it usually take for these to grow up? Tape them.
Tape them. There's different sizes in those first aid tape, but the Band-Aid first aid tape, don't buy the cheap one, it does not work. The first aid Band-Aid tape, they're thick. For the thicker ones, when they're 9 weeks old, they need the thicker ones, like not the 1/2 inch, but the inch. That seems to hold the ear up better when you tape it like a taco. So try that wider tape, the inch.
Yeah, so typically it's the bigger dogs that have
And
the
it's just something you're gonna have to do, keep putting it back on, putting it back on.
If you do it
Eventually
early,
work, do it.
typically within, maybe it matters 2 days, things fix. It might take you a week, right? But just keep putting it back on until the ears stay up, right? And you'll fix it. If you don't do anything about it, the ears maybe never stay up, and you'll have a dog that's got a wonky ear. This thing about the Neospora, I was told, Polly was when I had this problem, that it's only transferred in utero or through raw meat. I went against my better judgment and purchased the ingredients to make Satan balls. It's made with raw meat and you feed it to mama. So this is one of the things about this raw diet situation where you can have things like salmonella that can get in there and cause problems. So I'm not saying don't feed a raw diet, but I mean, there are pluses and minuses to everything. Kenneth says, should I give calcium or glucosamine? I think we're talking about now the dog that's got eclampsia. I think calcium is what you want. This is a different thing. Glucosamine, you're giving sugars because the dog has got low insulin. And that is different than eclampsia, which is low calcium. They're different things. So giving glucosamine to a dog that's got eclampsia, I don't think will help. And vice versa. I might be wrong on that, but that's what I think. So Fashful Mom says, I've never had a dog kinking the tail caused by birth. There you go. So I think that's probably right. Ariel says, I have never lost a puppy, nor have anyone I sent to buy one from you guys. I have the small and large incubators. It's just common sense to check puppies continuously. That's exactly right. Absolutely right.
But sometimes some people don't have that common sense, and they just
they don't
need
know
a little
any,
reminder.
They don't
know any better, whatever. But
Right.
you just got to. It's just like if you had a child, you wouldn't just poke the baby in bed and walk away. You've got to check on them.
If something will go wrong, eventually it will. If I promise you that if you've got to continually think about what can go wrong and try to protect yourself against. If you don't, things will go wrong. That's just as simple as that.
Think of the what if is what I always say.
Yes, that's right.
What if?
Nacho Line says not fendobendazole for parental. Yes. Parental Payomate on Emex2 is for the first couple of breed wormings at 2 and 4 weeks. Then you switch to fendobendazole or Safeguard at week 6 onwards.
Which I call Nemex 2 at the 6 or 2 and 4 weeks is Nemex 2 is what I call it.
And Natural Line says parental is on Amazon, then it is. It's a hell of a lot less expensive than buying Nemex 2. Right.
And then at 6 and 9 and 12 is the Safeguard. Hopefully by 12 weeks you got rid of your puppies.
Fashion Forward Mum says
3 days in a row, folks, on Safeguard.
Says you can use Dine also for low sugar. It helps a lot. I don't know the Dine, but I know that Fashion Forward Mum does a lot of this. So I'm sure her advice is good. KO syrup works just as good as the NutriCal and half the cost. Yeah, so my question here is, the trouble is the KO syrup is more for a low insulin, low sugar situation as opposed to low calcium. So I'm not sure that necessarily is going to fix a problem for a dog that's getting eclampsia. Shrey says parental to mother also. Not for us. We use fendobendazole for mum. And we give mum a worming at 10 days before whelp for 3 days, and then at 7 days after whelp for 3 days, and it's fendobendazole.
Anytime you give fendobendazole, which is Safeguard, 3 days in a row.
Sonny James said, I had difficulty with my last litter. I think it boiled down to poor marketing decisions on my part. Well, at least you're being honest with yourself. And I mean, the thing about all of this is when things go wrong, try to analyze what went wrong and try to change for next time. So you've got exactly the right attitude, Sonny, about this. So as opposed to blaming it on other people, you're saying, I'm taking responsibility for this. I'm trying to decide what was wrong, and I'm going to change it up next time. Good for you. That's exactly the right attitude. I'm not sure the question here, but Shay's probably talking about the fender bender salt. It is okay to give a lactating mama, yes. Going to run through these quickly. I have another question. I'm new at the friendship. I have a puppy that is silverest blue. I thought it's a lilac, but Animal Genetics reported it's AYAT, so that's a sable. Big CO, little CO, there's a copy of chocolate. 2 copies of little D, 2 copies of... Yeah, so that's a blue, that is a blue dog, not a lilac. If it was a lilac, it'd have to be little CO, little D, it's not.
Intensity gene may be real, like a double intensity. Intensity does a lot to color, and it's really pretty.
So people ask Sherry's questions. I'm not going to answer that. Good Lord, I've got a lot of questions here.
Yeah, well,
I better run through it.
When you gab away, that's what happens. I wasn't in here fast enough to make you stop.
So Fashionable Mum says, I have a love for my dogs, and it does take a special person to do it. And I have to have it's messy, and you have to have a want to do it. That's exactly right. And somebody else
have a love for it.
says this isn't a get-rich-quick scheme, and that's also true. It's not. It takes time to get where you want to be, but it doesn't mean you have to go broke doing it either.
It's a labor of love.
Yes. But look, I mean, there's a lot of people say you can't make money breeding dogs. Bullshit. You absolutely can make money breeding dogs. But you also have to have other reasons for doing this, just simply making money. I think it's so.
There's just some people that can't do it. That
definitely.
They want to, but they just can't. It's just not.
So it's a time commitment, and
it is.
and heartbreak, and
is.
the puppies leave you, and you don't want them to leave. And there's all kinds of reasons why you can get this all messed up. And it's like everything. You have to learn to walk before you can run. Don't go buy a whole crap load of dogs and expect that you're just going to start churning dogs out, because you're probably not going to be successful at it.
That's how you find out if things are for you.
Frenchie says, I had a breeder reach out to me about Cassian after seeing my Facebook reel, and I gave her Cody's number. Thank you, we appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Cassian, I tell you, when I saw him a couple of days ago, he's just amazing. I said his sister was amazing, and then I see Cassian, and I've got the sister, and Cassian's wonderful looking. He's a good looking stud.
On this thing about the dog with the swollen neck, she says her brother was biting her, but we thought that he was just playing. Well, I don't know. That's unlikely, I think, that a puppy would do with another puppy at 3 weeks of age, but I guess it's possible.
As the puppy's sibling brother?
Yeah.
Okay, not the mother's brother playing with the puppy.
Shrey says the same thing. Says her mother is coughing a little and puppies are pooping like clear jelly. What should I do? Go to the vet, have yourself a fecal examination done, and find out what's going on. So I don't think we
take a poop sample in.
Yeah, take a poop sample.
Take a poop sample in. That saves you some money.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't take the whole litter in. Right.
Yeah.
Just take some of the poop, put it in a plastic bag.
Tell them you just don't want to bring all the puppies down there to catch something else.
Don't take any puppies down there.
Yeah.
Call them up first. Tell them what you can do.
Yeah. So they'll know. They'll be prepared.
But
Put your name on the bag.
You've got a number of things going wrong here, and I think you need to go to the vet and have a vet look at this. I think that if we try to diagnose this here from our armchairs, that's a mistake on this situation. I ran out of tape, so I used painter's tape. Worked great. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
You use electrical tape, painter's tape?
No, I hate it when James pulls out the black electrical tape. I'll just have a cow. I'll run to the grocery store myself and go get the first aid tape.
Teeny Queenie says that things about salmonella is there are many different strains, and it's naturally found in dogs. Kibble has tons of recalls for salmonella. Okay. Yeah.
Seems like we're constantly fighting salmonella more and more with everything.
Natural Line says, let Tammy Reed take the phone away from me. We're getting near the end here.
Thanks.
Bashful Mom says, you have to have the knowledge and the will to do this. You got to know about sales and advertising. You must love animals and not mind the mess and the upkeep. Well, that's exactly true. Yes. It's like everything. Some people, are smarter at doing things. Some people don't have as much common sense as our people who watch us have lots of common sense, right? Some people are more capable than other people. It's just the way that it is. And people can learn, right? Shrey says there's no vet nearby. Well, you need to find a vet. So I'm not going to take that as, there's always a vet. You're going to have to drive.
We can make an excuse all day long.
Yeah.
Okay, so
you can take
there's a vet
Nacho's
somewhere.
advice, and that would be to give Albon and metronidazole, and you could do that. And so if you haven't got a vet, there's two things. It's likely going to be coccidia or giardia. Without a vet, you're not going to be able to diagnose those. You can go to My Breeder Supply and get a snap test to find that it's giardia. If it's giardia, you then give metronidazole. If it's not, then you give the Albon. Or
you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink, James.
Your brother-in-law, who is a vet, says give them both. That's what he does.
When you've tried and tried and
Yes.
tried, you just finally just give them both. But you've got to know the amount that you give them. Google it.
Natural Line says that 21 days old, they've got little teeth and they won't do damage to the other puppy. And I think that's exactly right. So I'm not buying that this is a bite thing.
No,
I like
it's
I
not.
like Fast Forward
think-
Mum's insect bite as being scorpion or a
Fashion Forward's answer and my answer.
yes you're right. Right. Okay, I think all right, I think we're at 9:15. We're already at 15 minutes over. We've gone long. So thank you for everybody who's watched. I think that maybe just one last question we're going to answer here. I didn't answer absolutely every question because some of them were repeats and some of them you'd answered questions for other people, so we ran out of time. But we
We
got
love when everybody pitches in and
Oh,
answers.
absolutely. You bet.
Yeah.
Absolutely, right. All right. So at that point,
Call me if you need a puppy. I can set you up for a puppy. So 580-799-1910 is my phone number to call me. And I can get you set up with a FaceTime and see that puppy up close and personal.
it's always the way to do it. Don't ever, ever, ever buy a puppy from anybody without at least doing some kind of live video. Not one they've sent you, a video that you can ask questions and see.
FaceTime.
You can say, well, turn the dog around, because somebody can send you any video they want. People send our videos to people and scam people thinking they're getting one of our puppies. But
This is another thing I have a question about.
it was
I
worth
also-
saying, Fashion Forward Mum just gave us a tip. Thank you, Fashion Forward Mum. That's very cool of you.
So anyway, this other question that I have is, on Facebook, I have noticed that all these groups, and now some of them are people that are maintaining the groups, but there's some people that are on there as anonymous, asking, let's see your puppies. So my question is, are they taking pictures of your puppies that you post on there and trying to sell them to someone else? Just food for thought. Always stop and think, is this person for real? And then when people answer you back about your puppies, always check their Facebook page or their Instagram page. Find out who they are. See if that's really a person, or it is a person, but see if it's that person that's pretending to be or is to be, to make sure that that's the person that you're talking to, doing business with. So be careful.
Yeah, Fashion Forward
So
Mum
many
says
scammers.
a lot of people steal her photographs. So that's
Yeah,
exactly it. That's exactly right.
That's
Yes.
ours too,
Yeah,
videos
right.
and everything. But anyway, be careful.
Yeah. So somebody says, can I travel to the vet for 4 hours with my puppies? The answer
In that
is,
incubator,
Yes.
travel incubator, you bet you can.
yeah. So Flip
But
News says,
check on them.
so Nacho
Leave
saying,
it
let's
cracked
keep
open every
Heatron
once in a
under the
while.
seat dashboard if they're under 3 weeks. Yeah, or use our incubator. I like our incubator. I like our incubator for a number of reasons. The other one is you can control the temperature, you know exactly what it is, and when you go into the vet, they're isolated from all the other dogs.
Yes, yes.
Because
yep.
that is the place,
Where
there's
sick
things like,
puppies go, sick dogs go, yeah.
Yeah, parvo, most likely placed at the vet.
Mm-hmm.
Distemper, most likely placed at the vet. Giardia and coccidia, most likely placed at the vet. It's not that the vet's
That's why we
on.
always say that if you don't have to take your puppy in, don't. Take a stool sample. That tells them a lot.
But
it
if you-
saves you money too.
But if you do have to take them in, put them in one of our incubators.
In the incubator. And
Or
do
we go.
not let them out. Take you that pee pad, lay it on the table. Do all those steps that I've said before.
Our puppies, when they're born at the vet's
Stay in the
office,
car until the vet's ready to see you.
when our puppies
And
are
don't
born
let anybody stop
at
you to peek at
C-section,
the puppy.
in the vet's office, they go into the incubator right there and then. They leave in the incubator. They're not in any other services. When we bring our puppies into the vet, they're in one of two ways. If they're small enough, they're in the incubator. If they're big enough, they're in a crate.
Yeah.
And that crate stays in the car until it's our
Right.
turn to go in.
Well, that's when we're taking them in for their vet check.
Yes, that's at 10 weeks old.
Yeah.
And then you
Yeah.
bring you wipe off their stainless steel countertop.
Uh-huh. And I
And
lay
you-
my pee
you
pad
put a
down
pee
on
pad
it.
down.
And then I put that crate on top of that pee pad.
And then you throw the
And
pee pad
then-
away after they leave. You don't
Right,
take the
right.
pee pad back with you.
Whenever he's checking he or she,
And-
checking the puppies, they're on that pee pad.
And when Tammy goes to the examining room, she says, "James, have you washed your hands?"
Mm-hmm.
Because she knows that I've handled the door going into the place, and that is the most I mean, I know it sounds like extreme, but
It's
you know,
step-by-step process, just like what they were trying to teach us when COVID was coming around,
Yeah.
you know, what you needed to do. This is the same with your baby puppies when
so
you
there's
go
a-
into the vet's
so
office.
there's a lot of bad information about COVID, but this is
Yeah,
not bad
okay.
information. Anyway,
No.
well, look, we're already going long here, so we
Yeah.
keep getting questions, so we better be hanging this thing up, otherwise we'll never get out of here. All right, okay. That's it. Bye, Bolly. See ya.
Bye.
We're out of here. I'm doing this and this.